Karachi, where working professionals are given the opportunity to do the Islamic income. A lot of working professionals in the Mali office program. That's happening here. He has been doing this for the last couple of days. And I hope we can benefit from it. Inshallah. After the talk, there will also be some refreshments for everybody to sit down.
Very happy to be here among all of you in the city of Dallas and in your Islamic Center family. And it is a great honor for me to come to this great, beautiful Islamic Center and speak to you people. I am from Karachi, Pakistan, and we have a small religious institution by the name of Academy, where there are teachers who teach students to become scholars of Islam. And I have lived here in the US for 10 years, and then I moved back to Pakistan, and then on the invitation of some of my friends here, I'm here for a few days, and I've been speaking to you guys today. Yesterday we spoke on a different topic, and today I'm speaking on the importance of marriage and the ways of living a peaceful married life. Alhamdulillah wa kafa, wassalamu ala ibadihi alladhina istafa, amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa min ayatihi an khalaqa lakum min anfusikum azwajan litaskunu ilayha وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. And among the signs of Allah, Allah has made for you your wives, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهِمْ, so that you may obtain peace in them. So in the Quran, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala promises that whoever gets married will get this benefit of getting peace in his life. In the deen of Islam, the nikah or the marriage is actually an act of ibadah. Not only that nikah is ibadah, doing nikah early is also an ibadah. And not only that doing nikah early is an ibadah, the love between the wife and the husband after nikah is also an act of ibadah. So in the deen of Islam, marriage is ibadah. Doing the marriage early is an ibadah. And then after the marriage, when the husband and the wife live in a loving fashion, in a way that they love each other, this is also an act of ibadah. The Prophet said, Al-Nikah min sunnati. Nikah is from among my sunnahs. And in another hadith, the Prophet said that whoever does his nikah, he fulfills half of the requirements of the iman. So this nikah is actually half of your iman. So nikah is nikah. A lot of people think that to get close to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, one needs to stay away from this worldly life. One needs to stay away from nikah. One needs to stay away from children and job and work and all these things. This is not the concept of Islam. In other religions, it is a concept. In Christianity, a person who does not marry is actually thought of as a very pious man. And only these people who do not get married are considered to be close to God. In Buddhism also, this is the case. They're monks, they don't get married. If you want to become a monk in Buddhism, you can't get married. Because they say marriage is a thing that stops you from becoming close to God. But the Prophet ﷺ actually, he told each and every one of us that this nikah is actually a way of getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is an act that brings you closer to Allah. That is why the Prophet ﷺ said that that in the deen of Islam, there is no asceticism. Everybody who gets married has children. The children go to schools, they go to madrasas, they learn the deen. The person goes to work, earns for his family, his children, and then also stays away from sins. That is a wali of Allah. He's a friend of Allah. So those people who are close to Allah are the people who get married in the deen of Islam. So in Islam, nikah is an act of ibadah. And getting your nikah done early is also an act of ibadah. But to get the nikah done early, there are some requirements. When scholars talk about getting married early, young people, they start nagging their parents, and now I want to get married early. But to get married, it's a contract between a husband and wife. And the husband says, okay, I'll take care of your belongings, I'll take care of your living, I'll take care of your food, I'll take care of your living and housing. For that, you need money. So if the husband is ready in this way, then he is ready for marriage. If he doesn't have anything, he doesn't have a job, he's not ready for marriage. So getting married early is definitely a part of deen, is an act of ibadah. It does not mean that you don't have anything to get married. You cannot sustain a wife and you still get married. So getting married, doing your nikah is an act of ibadah. Doing your nikah early is also an act of ibadah. The Prophet said, do 5 things as early as possible. 1, be early in your salah. So do not delay your salah. The second thing the Prophet said, that do not delay in doing tawbah to Allah. And all of us here need to do tawbah. Some people say that, oh, I never committed any sin, so why do I need to do tawbah? And the reality is that each one of us is a sinner. Because the Prophet said, "Kullu bani Adam khata'un." All of the children of Adam are at fault. All of them becoming sins. وَخَيْرُ الْخَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ. Among the sinners, the best ones are those who do abundance of tawbah. Those who do tawbah, they are the best people on the earth. So the Prophet said, don't delay in 5 things. 1, don't delay in your salah. 2, don't delay in doing tawbah for your sins. And the 3rd thing is, don't delay in burying the dead. When somebody dies in your house, don't delay in his burial. The 4th thing is, when you take a loan from somebody, do not delay in repaying that loan. And the 5th, if there is a young man or a young girl in your house, and she's of or he's of marriageable age, then get him or her married. Do not delay the marriage. In the deen of Islam, getting married is an act of ibadah. Getting married early is also an act of ibadah. The Quran promises 3 things to all those people who get married. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُمْ مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. There are the signs of Allah that Allah has created for you, your wives, so that you may attain peace in them. So Allah has promised that whoever gets married is going to get peace in his life. And the second thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, and Allah has kept love and rahmah and mercy between the two. Allah has promised three things to all of us, whoever gets married: peace, love, and mercy. A lot of times, a lot of people say that I was at peace before marriage, and after marriage, the peace is not there anymore. And the scholars have answered this question. And the answer is yes, there is no peace after marriage a lot of times. Because there are some basic mistakes that we do. And the scholars have pointed out 4 mistakes. There are 4 things that we do which are wrong, which cause the married life to be destroyed. So there are 4 things, 4 golden rules of a blessed married life. And the first one is, if you want to be a very blessed married life, a very happy married life, then you have to become a person of shukr, a person of thankfulness, a person of gratitude. So a person who does not have gratitude will never ever be happy with his life partner, whether he's a man or a woman. A person who is not thankful will find faults in his partner, whether he's a man or a woman. And the one who is thankful, he will lead a very happy married life. This state of not being grateful is more present in women than in men. There are mistakes that men do more, and there are mistakes that women do more. Men are also unthankful. Women are more unthankful than men. And why? Because this is how it is. Men's problem is that their eyes are not in control. A lot of times, there are very pious men whose eyes are in control. But the problem with men is that their eyes are not in control. And the problem with women is that their eyes are not in control. So a lot of times we all think that yes, there's this fault in my life, there's this fault in my life. A lot of times the wife thinks, my husband is this fault. I wish this person was not my husband. So this unthankfulness leads to a very destructive married life. A lot of times we think that the favors of Allah are going to come to us if we become angry and we become upset and we are always complaining. And this is not the way of gaining the favors of Allah. The way of gaining the favors of Allah is to thank for the favors that Allah has already given us. When we don't thank for the favors that Allah has already given us, then those favors are also taken away from us. So the more thankful you are for the favors that Allah has given you, the more blessed a married life you live. A lot of people think that the reason why we are unthankful is because there are things missing in our life. And the reality is that it is not as if Allah has not given us any favors. He's given us so many favors. We cannot even count them. Had He not given us eyes, we would have been blind. Had He not given us ears, we would have been deaf. Had He not given His tongue to us, we would have been people who could not speak. Had He not given us brains, we could not have think. Had He not given us wealth, we would have been homeless on the streets. So there are so many favors of Allah that we cannot even count. So why are we unthankful? The reason why we are unthankful is that one or two things that are missing in our lives, we focus on those things and forget the thousands and millions of favors that Allah has given us. So that is why good married life is disturbed. There's a professor in the University of Southern California, his name is Dr. Emmons, a professor of psychology. And he spent a lot of his life doing research on gratitude. And he says that I did the research the research paper written by him. He said that I did the research on 400 human beings, 400 people. And I separated them into two groups. One group was a group of people whom he said that every week you have to jot down, you have to write down 3 things that you think that you can thank God for. For example, if you see a beautiful sunset, you can write this down, that this is something that I can thank God. If you eat something that you like, you can write down that this is something that I can thank God. Or if you think that your child got very good grades in school, you can write down that this is something I can thank God for, or thank God for. So he said that 200 people, I told them every week you have to write down 3 things only that you think that you can thank God. And you have to do this for 8 weeks. Now he only asked them to write 3 things, but these 200 people, their mind was always thinking about those things that they can thank God. And then he said, after 8 weeks, I will interview you guys. And the other group of 200 people, he told them that you don't have to do anything, I'm just going to interview after 8 weeks. So one group was put on thankfulness. And that's what they were doing the whole day, thinking about those things that they can thank God for. And the other group was just there, not thanking God, and was just spending their life the way they were spending their lives. He then said that I interviewed both the groups after 8 weeks. And I saw very huge differences between the 2 groups. The group, one group you can call the thankful group, the other group you call thankful, the group that is not thankful. So he said that I saw 5 huge differences between the 2. And the first difference is that those who used to thank for 8 weeks, they were able to sleep very easily. They had no disturbances in going to sleep. And those who were not thanking, going to sleep was a problem for them. The second difference between the 2 groups, he said, was that those people who thanked, when they would go to sleep, in their sleep, they would be very contented. It would be a peaceful, tranquil sleep. And those who did not thank, even when they would go to sleep, the sleep would be very disturbed. And the third difference, he said, between the 2 groups, those who were thankful, he said, that those who were thankful, when they would wake up from their sleep, they would be in a good mood. And those who were not thankful, when they would wake up from their sleep, they would be in a very bad mood. And the fourth difference, he said, that those who were not thankful, those who were thankful, they were generally positive about their lives. They were of the view that their lives are very happy, and they were also of the view that in the future good things are going to come to them. And those who were not thankful, they were generally negative about life. That something bad is going to happen to them. And the fifth and the biggest difference, the most surprising of all differences between the 2 groups, that those who were happy or those who were thankful, they had less physical sicknesses than those who were not thankful. Allahu Akbar. So at the end of his research article, he writes that if you want to sleep well, don't count sheets, count blessings. For those who are thankful, they will lead blissful, happy, married life. So there are 4 golden rules of a beautiful married life, and one of them is to be thankful to Allah for what Allah has given us. Sometimes we miscalculate this. We think that, okay, what we deserve, we did not get. So maybe we can get something better. And this is such a big miscalculation that when you think that, okay, maybe something else is better than my partner or someone else is better than my partner, you end up getting something which is worse than what you had. So you end up making this mistake. So when you're not thankful for the favors that Allah has given you, this is what happens. So a Sahabi came to you. Sahabi came to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he complained that my wife is like this. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not. He's too much to his complaint. In fact, he said, you know what? If you find something bad in your life, if you found something bad in your life, you think you will find something good about your life as well. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ said that those people who think that there's something wrong with their partner, the wife thinks that there's something wrong with his husband, or the husband thinks there's something wrong with his wife, but he does sabr on that. The Prophet ﷺ said that he will get the ajr, the reward of the sabr of Ayyub alayhi salam. So 4 things that lead to a blissful, a happy married life. And first one is thankfulness. The more thankful you are, the better the life. The reality is the more thankful you are, not only for your life, but for everything that Allah has given you, this life is going to be very happy. The afterlife is going to be very happy. Let me tell you something. The scholars have said, if you read the Quran very, very deeply, the type of person that Allah wants you to become is a person who is thankful. In the end, Allah wants you to become a person of shukr. The second golden rule of a happy married life, and that golden rule is that you have to be patient. You have to have sabr. So the first rule is shukr. The second rule is patience. And in married life, there are times when you can be very, very upset. And what is patience? That you control your tongue, your actions when things go wrong. And this patience is such a thing that when you have this patience, Allah has promised a very beautiful thing for those who are patient. Allah said, وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الصَّابِرِينَ. And Allah loves those who do sabr in their lives. So it is a very beautiful gift for those who are patient. Those husbands and those wives who become upset at small things, they will never ever be happy in their marriage. Even if you have the best husband in the world, or even if you have the best wife in the world, if you have this ability, or if you have this thing inside of you that you get upset at small things. I didn't get tea in the right time. I did not sleep too much today. I did not sleep as much as I should. I did not eat what I had to eat. If you get upset at these things, let me tell you, whoever you are, even if you are the biggest scholar of Islam, if you are getting upset at these things, Allahu Akbar. And the married life is not going to succeed. After getting married, your level of patience has to go up. If it doesn't go up, then this married life cannot work. Because two people who have completely different orientation are living together. So things will come up, which are disturbing. So the more you are patient, the more it is going to be a beautiful life. The less you are patient, the less it is going to be a beautiful life. That is why the Prophet said that among all the ni'mas of Allah, among all the favors of Allah, the best one that anyone could get is sabr. So among all the things that you have, your house, your car, your phone, your whatever things that you think are my favorite things, among all these things, the best favor of Allah, if anybody could get, is sabr, is patience. So the more sabr you have, the better the life is going to be. The less sabr you have, more volatile the life will be. So sometimes people ask us, a lot of different people, a lot of scholars are asked this question. How much sabr am I supposed to do? And the answer is, well, do as much sabr so that you surprise yourself. The Prophet said, the best one among you is the one who takes a very long time to get angry. And it takes a very short time for him to become normal again. Allah. So the more angry you get easily, the more it's going to be difficult. It's 4 golden rules. One is that you do shukr for whatever Allah has given you. And the second golden rule is you have to be patient. The more patient you are, it's going to be a better life. The third rule, and this is a very important rule, and this rule is that you have to have a positive thinking about your partner. Sometimes the marriage stooops to such a low level that the husband and the wife are living together just because they cannot do anything else. Otherwise, they don't like each other, they don't love each other, they stop children. And it's just the situation is such that they cannot get out of that marriage. And that is why they're living. So in this type of a marriage, the husband is always looking at the fault of the wife, and the wife is always looking at the fault of the husband, and that's it. And let me tell you this, finding fault in somebody else is not a very big achievement. Finding fault in your own self is a big achievement. It's very smooth. From among all of us can say that I have no faults. All of us have many, many faults. And your life partner who lives with you 24 hours a day, how difficult is it for him or her to find what is your fault? So finding faults in the other person or your partner is not a big deal. It is not an achievement. Finding fault in yourself is an achievement. And sometimes this habit of finding fault is so grounded in our mind that we're always sticking in these lines. So there's a story. It is written in books. I don't know how true it is, because it relates to this topic. So I will tell you the story. That there was this chef whom a lot of people loved because he was a very big chef of his time. And he had many, many students, thousands of them. And they all loved him because they thought that he was the most pious man in the world. And he has changed their lives, and his speech is so beautiful. And he's a beautiful example of sunnah and everything. So this was the thought of all of the students, and there were thousands in number. And the wife was such that she had no respect for him. And she did not think that he had any qualities in him. And she would always fight, and she would always scream at him, and she would always be angry. And he would do sabr, but sometimes it would be just very difficult for him. So one day he had a very big, she became very angry. And he, being the man of Allah, he turned to Allah. And somehow in his heart, it came to him that, oh Allah, why don't you give me some miracle so that, her heart becomes also very, very soft towards me. So if I will show her that I can do miracles, then maybe her heart will be soft towards me. So Allah accepted his dua, and Allah gave him this miracle. And he started flying. So when he started flying, he flew above his house, making sure that the wife sees him. So 3-4 rounds around the house he made, and he was convinced that the wife has seen him. So when he was 100% convinced, that's when he landed down. And he came inside the house, very happy. But now the wife is going to say that you are my friend for life. And I love you like all these thousands of your students love you. So he came inside. And as soon as he came inside, he said, you think you are a chef? Chef is that person that I saw today in the skies. What a beautiful flight he had. So as soon as she said that, she said, do you not know it was me who was flying in the skies? She said, oh, it was you who was flying, who was flying in the skies. That is why I thought, there is some crookedness in his mind. So even his flying had crookedness inside. So when you have this, when you go on this mode of negativity, you will find negativeness in each and every action. You just cannot be positive. So the Prophet ﷺ has pointed towards this. You should look at the good things about your partner and not the bad things. So 4 golden rules of a blessed married life. 1, being thankful. The second one is being patient. Not jumping to conclusions all the time. And the third one is to look at your own thoughts, not be negative about your partner. And the fourth, and one of the more important ones, is the most important rule in these times, is to be completely focused towards your wife or your husband after marriage. In our times that we live in, what happens is that before marriage, young boys and girls, they go to school and they make friends, and sometimes they have a romantic feeling for their friends. And then somehow or the other they get married to somebody else. And they keep on thinking about that friend, or that cousin, or that person that they liked before. And when this happens, it disturbs them. And this thought is more present in men than women in our culture. And sometimes the woman tries to convince them, why are you talking to this girl? Or why are you talking to this cousin of yours? And the husband replies that you have to be open-minded about these things. Well, the reality is that this debate of open-mindedness and closed-mindedness has been closed in the Quran. And the Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَقُصُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. You're not even supposed to look at the other woman. So how can you make friends with the other woman? How can you talk to the other woman? How can you WhatsApp other women? So this is the biggest problem. The more divorces that are happening in our times because of this. And the reality is that in the deen of Islam, not only getting married is an act of ibadah. The husband and the wife living a loving life is also an act of ibadah. The Prophet ﷺ said that when the husband sees his wife and he smiles, and when the wife smiles back at the husband, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so happy at that moment that Allah smiles at both of them. So the more love you have between the two of you, the more happy the wife is. The more focused the husband and wife are towards each other, the more this life becomes happy. So these 4 rules of a blessed marriage life. One is shukr. The second one is being patient, having sabr. The third one is being positive, not looking at the other partner's faults. The fourth is being focused on your partner, leaving all other things aside. So in Hadith, the Prophet said that there will be 7 people who will be given the shade of the throne on the day of judgment when there will be no other shade. And one of them is that person whom a woman invites for wrongdoing. And he says, no, I fear Allah. So the one who's married has to be like this. The one who gets married, if he stays away from all women, all other women, is going to have a beautiful life. And the woman who stays away from all other men is going to have a beautiful man. And if you think that no, nothing can happen to us and I can stop it whenever I want to, then there will be bad results. This is the biggest reason of why marriages go bad in our times. So 4 blessed rules of having a happy marriage. These are the rules that have been laid down by the scholars many years, hundreds of years. And these are the rules which are applicable even today. And we make dua to Allah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us in obeying these rules that the scholars have set down. And I end my talk here. Before we make a short dua, I will recite a nasheed for all of you. And then we make dua. This nasheed is also a dua. And it is in the language of Urdu. A great friend of Junaid Jamshed used to recite this, and I will recite this. اس والا دل بدل دے اس والا دل بدل دے میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے بدل دے دل کی دنیا دل بدل دے بدل دے دل کی دنیا دل بدل دے کرم فرما خدایا دل بدل دے رہوں بیٹھا میں اپنا سر جھکا کر سرور ایسا عطا کر دل بدل دے گناہ گاری میں کب تک عمر کاٹوں گناہ گاری میں کب تک عمر کاٹوں بدل دے میرا رستہ دل بدل دے سنوں میں نام تیرا دھڑکنوں میں نام تیرا دھڑکنوں مزہ آ جائے مولا دل بدل دے کروں قربان اپنی ساری خوشیاں کروں قربان اپنی ساری خوشیاں تو اپنا غم عطا کر دل بدل دے تیرا ہو جاؤں اتنی آرزو ہے تیرا ہو جاؤں اتنی آرزو ہے بس اتنی ہے تمنا دل بدل دے میری فریاد سن لے میرے مولا میری فریاد سن لے میرے مولا بنا لے اپنا بندہ دل بدل دے تیرا سامنا ہو روز محشر، جو تیرا سامنا ہو روز محشر، تو دیکھے مسکرا کر دل بدل دے، ہرس والا دل بدل دے، میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے، میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے۔ الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين، اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ولسانا ذاكرا وقلبا خاشعا ورزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اے اللہ، ہم آپ کے عاجز مسکین بندے ہیں، اللہ ہمارے گناہوں کو معاف فرما، ہمارے خطاؤں سے درگزر فرما، ہمارے عیبوں کی پردہ پوشی فرما، اللہ برے دن سے محفوظ فرما، اللہ بری رات سے محفوظ فرما، میرے مالک برے کاموں سے محفوظ فرما، اے اللہ ہمیں برے انجام سے محفوظ فرما، اللہ ہدایت ملنے کے بعد گمراہی سے محفوظ فرما، میرے مالک سیدھا راستہ ملنے کے بعد بھٹکنے سے محفوظ فرما، اللہ اپنا قرب حاصل ہو جانے کے بعد اپنی دوری سے محفوظ کرنا، میرے مالک نعمتیں مل جانے کے بعد نعمتوں کے چھن جانے سے محفوظ کرنا، اللہ عزتیں ملنے کے بعد ذلت سے محفوظ کرنا، میرے مالک در در کے دھکے کھانے سے محفوظ کرنا، اے اللہ آپ کو ناراض نہیں کرنا چاہتے، میرے مالک کمزور ہے، نہ کبھی شیطان ہمیں اچک لیتا ہے، نہ کبھی ہماری خواہشات ہمیں غلط راستوں پہ ڈال دیتی ہے، اے اللہ ہمارے لیے گناہ چھوڑنا بڑا مشکل کام ہو گیا، اللہ آپ کے لیے گناہ چھڑوانا آسان ہے، میرے مالک گناہوں سے پاک زندگی نصیب فرما، گناہگاری میں کب تک عمر کاٹی، گناہگاری میں کب تک عمر کاٹی، بدل دے میرا رستہ دل بدل دے، ہوا کے سوال دل بدل دے، میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے، اے اللہ رحمت کا معاملہ فرما، اللہ ہم کو تیرے لٹے ہوئے بندے، شیطان نے بھی ہمیں لوٹ لیا، اللہ ہماری خواہشات نے بھی ہمیں لوٹ لیا، اللہ لٹ پٹ کے تیرے در پہ حاضر ہے، اے اللہ ہم نے تو دنیا دار کو بھی دیکھا، لٹے ہوئے بندوں کو لوگ دیکھتے ہیں، لوگ زیادہ مہربانی کرتے ہیں، اے اللہ آپ تو سب سے بڑھ کر مہربان ہیں، اللہ ہم لٹے ہو کے حال پر مہربانی فرما، اللہ رحمت کا معاملہ فرما، اللہ اٹھتے ہوئے ہاتھوں کی ڈھال فرما، میرے مالک میں نیک نہ بن سکا، اللہ تیرے نیکوں میں آ کے بیٹھ گیا، اللہ نیک نہ بن سکا، اللہ نیکوں میں آیا نہ تھا، اللہ ان نیکوں کی برکت سے اللہ ہمیں بھی نیکی نصیب فرما، اللہ ان نیکوں کی برکت سے اللہ ہمارے بھی مردہ دل کو زندہ فرما، اللہ رحمت کا معاملہ فرما، میرے مالک نے انہیں دعاؤں کے لیے کہا، اللہ ان کو بھی دعاؤں میں شامل فرما، اے اللہ جو گھر بار کی وجہ سے پریشان، اللہ ان کی پریشانی کو دور فرما، اللہ جو کام کاروبار کی وجہ سے پریشان، اللہ ان کی پریشانی کو بھی دور فرما، میرے مالک جو اولاد کی وجہ سے پریشان، اللہ پریشانی کو بھی دور فرما، اللہ اولاد کے غموں سے محفوظ فرما، اللہ اولاد کے دکھوں سے محفوظ فرما، میرے مالک اپنی صحت کی وجہ سے پریشان، اللہ ان کی پریشانیوں کو بھی دور فرما، اللہ بندہ جب پریشان ہوتا ہے ماں باپ کی طرف، اللہ بچہ جب پریشان ہوتا ہے ماں باپ کی طرف دوڑتا ہے، اللہ بندہ جب پریشان ہوتا ہے پروردگار کی طرف لوٹتا ہے۔ اے بے قسموں کے دستگیر، اے ٹوٹے دلوں کو تسلی دینے والے، اے خالص کو دلوں کو بھر دینے والے، اے مشکل میں پڑے ہوئے کو مشکل سے نکال دینے والے، میرے مالک رحمت کا معاملہ فرما، اللہ تیرے در کے سوا کوئی در بھی نہیں، میرے مالک جس فقیر نے روٹی کا سوال کرنا ہوتا ہے اسے ایک در سے نہیں ملتا، میرے مالک دوسرے در پہ چلے جاتا، اللہ مسئلہ اس فقیر کا نہیں، اللہ مسئلہ تو ہمارا ہے، میرے مالک اس در سے نہیں ملا تو کوئی اور در نہیں، اللہ اپنے در سے خالی ہاتھ نہ لوٹا، میرے مالک رحمت کا معاملہ فرما، اللہ اٹھے بے ہاتھوں کی لاج فرما، اللہ اٹھے بے ہاتھوں کی لاج فرما، میرے مالک تم بیٹھی خواتین بھی ان دعاؤں پہ آمین کہہ رہی ہیں، اللہ ان کے دلوں کے غموں کو بھی دور فرما، اللہ کون ہے جو دلوں کے غموں کو دور کرنے والا، میرے مالک آپ کی ذات کے سوا کوئی اور ذات نہیں، اللہ رحمت کا معاملہ فرما، اللہ اٹھے بے ہاتھوں کی لاج فرما، میرے مالک اس جگہ پر خاص رحمت برکت نازل فرما، اے اللہ اس مسجد کمیونٹی سینٹر کو اے اللہ اپنے مقبول ترین جگہوں میں شامل فرما، اللہ اس کو قیامت تک کے لیے بنارہ نور بنا، اللہ جتنے بچے اور بڑے اور جتنے لوگ یہاں آتے ہیں اللہ سب کے سینوں کو تقویٰ سے منور فرما، میرے مالک ہمارے دین و حرم کی حفاظت فرما، اللہ ہمیں بار بار اپنے گھر کا دیدار نصیب فرما، اپنے پیارے محبوب کے در کی حاضری نصیب فرما، اے اللہ ہمارے عزیز اقارب رشتہ دار مشائخ اساتذہ والدین جو بھی دنیا سے فوت ہو چکے ہیں جو حیات ہیں اللہ ان سب کی مغفرت فرما، اللہ جن کی مغفرت فرما دی اپنے قرب کے اعلیٰ درجات نصیب فرما، ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم تب علينا انك انت التواب الرحيم، وصلى الله تعالى على حبيبه سيدنا محمد وعلى اله واصحابه اجمعين برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين.